Hi, Joshua Hura here, and welcome to my storybook. Today, the part 6 of this book called Dog Whisper, The Rescue. Today, I'll be reading chapter 11 and chapter 12 of this book. Last night, I had just read chapter 9 and chapter 10. Today, this is the part 6 that I'm reading right now. Chapter 11. Emily spun around and stared at the explainer in the table. That, she said, unessentially. It was hard to tell in a dying line, but she was almost sure that his eyes were open. Zach, are you okay? She asked. He lifted his head and then moved, limberly, until he was sitting up halfway. Whoa, Mom, she yelled. Dad, come quick. The door flew open, and within less than a minute, her parents and Dr. Kosinowski had already seen. Look, he's okay, she said. The look at the table and its changing in glances. Emily couldn't figure out why they wouldn't move and they wasn't more excited until she saw that the dog was back on his side and his eyes closed. No, you don't understand. He moved, she said. He sat up. Dr. Kasanowski looked afterward. It might have seemed like that, Emily, but it was probably just an environment muscle. No, he set up, Emily said. They all stared at her the way that Shackleton's had stared at Dorothy in the last scene of The Wizard of Oz. He really did, she said, definitely, and he barked too. And he barked too. None of them patting her on the head, or said, of course he did, dear, but she was afraid that they might. Instead of shouting, please wake up at the dog, which she sort of did, inside her head, she rested her hand on his side. Zach, she said, very quiet. After a long second, the dog opened his eyes. He held her gaze, then made that sighing sound, and painfully began to climb to his feet. It seems to take forever, and Emily held her breath the whole time. Since his left foreleg wouldn't support any weight, he stood on the other three legs, so shocking that she was afraid he would topple over. He stilled himself, the cat hanging at the wall in the air, and then wagging his tail a couple of times. The room was absolutely silent. Wow, Gary, one of the vet's tats, said from the doorway. Wow, was an understatement. After that, everything seems to move very fast. Dr. Castanasi explaining Zach, and his vital signs were strong and steady. He will still have to stay in the hospital for a while, and there were no guarantees. But his progress was dramatically better than it had been just an hour early. Dr. Kasanowski was going to stay late at the office to Morton Zach and the other vet tent. Linda would be spending the night so that he could have 24 hours intensive care. Emily was nervous about leaving him, but she knew that he would be in a very good hands. It wasn't until they got home and was sitting at the dining table that Emily realized how exhausted she was. Her parents were kind of dozing over their plates, too, which made sense because the three of them had had barely any sleep. Long day, her father said finally. Boy, that was for sure. After supper, they all sat in the dining to watch the Red Sox for a while. but Emily just couldn't stay awake. Maybe a shower and some sleep, her mother suggested. Emily nodded. Despite all the time she had spent sitting in the rain, she still felt melly and could smell the brine on herself from her dive into the ocean. Sometimes, for her own pride, she liked to pretend that she didn't want to be Tucker in and frozen over anymore. But she was always reliving when at least one of her parents still did it. Anyway, we'll go over to visit him First thing tomorrow morning, her mother said. As she put a fresh satin pillowcase on Emily's pillow. Her mother always worried that cotton pillowcases might be too heavy for her hair, and made sure that she deconditioned it and moisturized her hair regularly and didn't shampoo too much. Her mother also, unsurprisingly, had a large collection of books about how to take care of her and style African American hair and follow the instructions rigidly. In the meantime, her father would say things like, "Can't she just brush it and leave it at that? He'll be okay tonight, right?" Emily asked. Her mother nodded. He seems to be a very determined dog. He seems to be an unusually determined dog. For once, Emily didn't have any nightmares at, at all. Didn't seem to have any nightmares at all. And she woke up feeling pretty intelligent. And although her nose was a little stuffed up, that was probably just hay fever or something, though. After she got dressed and felt Josephine, she checked her email and found a stack of about eight new messages from friends who were surprised she hadn't been online at all the night before, which was, of course, totally unusual. And one from her cousin, Ronald, too. She answered each of them. She answered each of them with a version of "I found a dog." We'll let you We'll let you know more later, and then closed her laptop. When she went downstairs, her parents were already sitting at the kitchen table, eating breakfast and plowing through a stack of newspapers. Her father was looking sloppy and sleeping in pajamas pajamas and an old stripper of Oxford short. While her mother must have already been out kay- kayaking because her hair was wet and she was still wearing Uko shoes and a water replenishment splash short over her shorts. "Sleep well," her father asked, drinking some coffee. Emily nodded. "Yeah, thanks." There wasn't any bad messages from the vets, right? Her mother shook her head. "No." "And I went out to get every local paper I could find this morning to see if anyone reported him missing. We haven't come across anything so far." "Good, Lord, even. I have some work I need to get done this morning," her father said, "but you and your mother can go over to the ocean side and see how he is in the meantime, just in case someone really did lose him. Dr. Krasnowski is putting the word out to the other vets and all the animal shelters, too." Emily nodded, knowing that she should be smart and stay cautiously opportunistic, but she was starting to feel genuine optimistic. After having eaten almost no dinner the night before, she was really hungry and easily finished serving pieces of French toast, along with some cut up strawberries and a glass of chocolate milk. She had never liked the taste of plain milk, but her parents had agreed that it was worth the trade off or having her drink more milk, as long as it had a little bit of floating in it, flavoring, sugar in it. When she went outside, she saw her friend Bobby pedaling down the street past her house on his bike. To be specific, he was riding no hands, with his arms folding across his chest, because lately he had decided that he was mostly too cool to ride the normal way. He saw her and put on the breakers, lowering his hands onto the handlebars to keep his balance. She walked over to meet him. Hi, Bobby. Hi, Bobby. Bob, he said, Emily Grimmer at his 12th birthday party back in June. He had stated that he now wanted to be known only as Bob, or he had said so will be okay too. She told him she would call him that if he references to Bella's Your Highness or Lordship. But since Emily had met him when they were barely 3 years old, she still automatically called him Bobby without thinking. He was the only other kid her age in the neighborhood, so it was a good thing that they had always gotten along very well. In a lot of ways, they didn't have much in common. He loved fishing and playing lacrosse, and didn't like school, but he was always funny and cheerful, and they had a great time goofing around together. They would ride their bikes or climb around on the rocks in front of their whole houses, or spend hours shooting baskets with his older brothers and sisters. And the birthday party had been really fun because his parents had taken 15 of them to the water park near Old Alcohol Beach. She had liked it so much that she was thinking of asking her parents if they could do the same thing for her birthday in September. Hello, Robert, she said. He laughed. Look, okay. Then he leaned down with his elbows resting against the handlebars, which made him much closer to her height. Bobby had grown a lot in the last year or so, and then including his hair, which was long, thick, and sandy blonde. Her friend Carol always said that he looked like a big old hopper. I am so too cool to buy the house and stuff. But it seemed like, you know, no one was home at all yesterday. Emily nodded. I know we weren't. Her throat was hurting a little, and she coughed a couple of times. Sometimes she got allergies, so maybe there was a bunch of pollen at the air today. I risked your dog, if we didn't get home until pretty late. Cool. Can I see him? Bobby asked. I found him over on the rocks, and he was bleeding and everything. Emily said, gesturing towards the Pelleroy's house. So he's still at the vet's, but they're pretty sure he's going to be okay. What kind is he? Bobby asked. He was probably a modern, but there was something so ignorant and distressing about him that she wondered if he might be so well. Probably she just didn't know about. He looks like a retailer. So excited he's all right. Emily said, I named him Zach. Well, I mean, Zachary, but Zach, mostly. Bob the Moulton towards the house when her mother was on her way out to the driveway. They're going to let you keep him. On they're going to let you keep him. On the whole, they probably didn't have much of a choice. And besides, she assured her her parents were already pretty fond of him, too. Emily nodded. Yeah, even though Dad thinks he's kind of too big. I don't think he belongs to anyone because he's all thin and everything. She looked at him uneasily. Have you heard of anyone who lost a dog? Bobby thought for a second, then shook his head. No. But Mr. Johnson's horse got out again and was running all over yesterday. Andrea, who was his big sister, said he was in Miss Griswold's lot, and she was going to wreck crazy about it and screaming and stuff. Miss Griswold was the mean old lady who lived by herself about 6 houses down, and never seems to come outside, except when she was yelling at people. She didn't have a car, so she always wore an old black bicycle around to do her errands, and some people call her Miss Blunt for the actor and the Wizard of Oz behind her back. Wherever Emily went past her house on her way to visit Bobby and his family, or go watch the boats at the wharves, she stayed on the other side of the road and walked quickly. Her parents, who were invisible, very proud. Iris just said that Miss Griswold was at the toilet. Emily partly would have gone with Scary. Good morning, Bobby, Emily's mother said as she opened the car door. Please thank your father for the lobsters. If they even start growing, I'll bring some of my vegetables over for you all of you. Bring some of my vegetables for all of you. Her mother could do a lot of things really well, but even though she worked hard on it and read lots of instructions books, so far, Grandma did not seem to be one of them. Bobby grinned, but then nominally exhausted Kelly. Probably too exhausted to be conventional. Thank you, Miss Fairguard. You may not want to hold your breath, though, until it happens. Emily's mother said warmly, it's a nice garden. Emily said, the weeds are very pretty, and there was a lot of them. Although personally, she liked the way the delicious look. A lot of people in Maine were crazy about the national greens, and sometimes one of the neighbors one of the neighbors will come over and ask to dig a food up for a salad or straw like the person was making. Her mother sighed. I know, they are getting a little out of control, aren't they? Well, maybe this weekend we can spend some time pulling. Just then, the back door flew open, and Emily's father hurried outside. I'm sorry, they just called from the animal hospital, he said urgently. We need to get over there right away. Chapter 12. On the way over, Emily was so tense that it was so hard to breathe. Her chest felt tight, and her throat hurt, too. Oceanside had not told her father many details, other than the fact that Zach had taken a sudden turn for the worse, and was not back in the intensive care. When they arrived at the vets, it turned out that Zach had the vitamin pneumonia and was being given oxygen and strong antibiotics. He was also going to get regular treatments in something called a nebulizer, which was like a huge revelation and was supposed to help his lungs work more easily. He was actually in the middle of the treatment at that very moment, and they were going to have to stay in the waiting room until it was finished. A really real thing was that she must be having sympathy pains or something, because she had been coughing on and off in the car and felt like she might even be running a fever. Are you all right? Her mother asked instantly. I don't look very good, Emily, except for a little bit of stuffy nose. She had felt perfectly fine when she woke up, so this must be like hepatitis or something. Or was that the right word? I think I'm just worried about that, Emily said. But her chest did hurt, and that was creepy. She caught herself rubbing her sternum without thinking, and immediately stopped because she didn't want her parents to notice. However, her mother, her mother must have seen her because she reached over and felt her forehead. You're a little warm, Em, she said, and further, maybe you're coming down with something. It might be just regularly. Emily still covered it. I was coughing a couple of times when I was talking to Bobby. Plus, of course, she was upset now, and that was bound to make her feel pretty bad. The waiting room was quiet, with people, dogs, cats, and even a grown-up pig, so her father was pacing around and stepping outside every so often so that he wouldn't be surrounded by so many soul animals. There was only one free chair, and her mother wanted her to take it. But Emily would have felt guilty about that, so they shared it. Her mother was pretty small, so they have had a habit of sitting together that way for years anyway. But right now it was too close for comfort because her mother was watching her so closely. Maybe I had, you know, Hepatitis calendar, Emily said, whispering it so that no one else will hear them, because I'm so worried about him. Her mother's arms was around her, relaxing slightly. That's true, she agreed. Although I wouldn't call that Hepatitis, I call that at Anthony. Take a few deep breaths and see if it helps. It helps to take deep breaths, but since she knew it was just in her head, Emily did it. Anyway, he's a very strong dog, her mother said. Well, just had to pray that this is a temporary setback. Emily nodded, taking another deep breath. The floor in the clinic must have been mopping originally or something because there was a very strong medicine smell all around them. An overpowering smell that was making her a little dizzy. She wanted to ask her mother if she could smell it, too, but she had already been well enough for one morning. Was hypocritical the right word? She asked, to distract her. I feel like there's another one. Her parents love words, so any conversation about languages was genuine to be lively and lightly. Her mother nodded. You're probably thinking of physical mind. It's similar, but not quite the same. She broke off her sentence as they both saw Dr. Kasanowski come out of the back and motion towards them. Emily quickly went to the other side. Emily quickly went to the outside door, and when her father, who had been in the parking lot, saw, saw her, he hurried back into the building. Once she and her parents were into the same private explanation room when they had been on the day before, Dr. Kasanowski looked so similar that Emily knew that Zach's condition had to be grave. I'm very sorry, he said to them. I know we discussed the possibility of pneumonia yesterday, but I was hoping that antibodies were kicking before that happened. He has lots of faith in him, but he's so weak that he may not be able to really pass this. On top of everything else, Emily swallowed. Emily swallowed, her throat hurting worse than ever. Do we have to put him to sleep? Dr. Casanasi hesitated, but then nodded relaxingly. Right now, we're looking at antibiotics as our next step, and to be honest, that may be future that we want to go. If his breathing continues to be this severely impermanent, I'm afraid that will be my recommendation. Yes. Oh, she haven't been accepting such a definite answer, and she had to rub her hand across her eyes as they filled with tears. Her brother came over to her, which made her feel which made her feel a little better, but not that much. May we see him? Emily's mother asked. Dr. Casanasi nodded. Yes, I think it might be very helpful. So they're setting it up right now. He's just come out of the nobilization. We'll be modernizing his blood, gazing very carefully, too, so that we can decide what steps we want to take with his oxygen treatment. Let me go. Let me go see how they're doing. They had to wait for a few more minutes, and then with Gary, one in the text, came to get him. That was in what looked like an intensive care case, while pounding over towers. His breathing was very laughable, and he was coughing freely, too. He seems to have even more tools and folds than he had the day before, and there was some thick folding plastic next to him. That's the oxygen hood. Dr. Kaznowski explaining. Unfortunately, it has been causing him some insomnia, so we may have to sedate him to be able to lose it. Right now, he pointed at the thing, plastic tube. We're trying to direct a small floor to towards him and see if that helps. Emily can smell the intense medicine secret sink more strongly than ever, and wonderful if it was from his medication and not floor cleaner. After all, her chest felt as though someone was squeezing her lungs tightly together, and out of nowhere, she felt a wave of fear to the extent that she couldn't focus on anything else. She realized that someone was talking to her and shook her head to try and snap out of it. It's okay if we want to pat him, Dr. Kasanowski said. Emily nodded and reaching for his intentionality. Her throat was trembling, and it seemed as though the fear was coming directly from him. It's okay, she said, and struck her smooth circularly on the head. They're going to be okay. They give you your medicine to help you feel better. She could feel the trembling in his, and he seems cleaner. Somehow, he even seems to be breathing more easier. Dr. Casanasi moved in next to her with his stethoscope. No, please keep patting him, he said when she started to step aside. So Emily did, while Dr. Kasanowski listening intently to wherever it was he was hearing through the stethoscope. Okay, he said, will you please move away? Will you please move away from the man? She had no idea why he would want her to do that, but she hesitated and then withdrew. Dr. Kasanowski waited a couple of minutes and then pressing the stethoscope to Zach's chest again. Interesting, he said when he was finished. sounding as though he was walking to himself. Then he looked up. Gary, will you come over and pet him now? Gary is struggling and did. Once again, Dr. Kaczynowski waited before the shack Zat's verbal signs, and then nodded to himself. Emily glanced at her parents, who were both too busy watching closely to notice. Dr. Kaczynowski straightening up, brilliant dropping the stethoscope over his shoulder. Emily, will you home me and go out to the waiting room for about 10 minutes? I have one of your parents come get you. She knew he was she knew he was a very good veterinarian and a nice person to boot. But Emily stood look at him, especially. You're not going to put him to sleep, and just don't want me to see, right? Dr. Kaczynowski shook his head. No, I promise. I'm trying to explain the pill. That's all. Emily didn't like it, but she went instead of going all the way out of the waiting room. She decided to stay in the corner when she leaned against the wall, folded her arms noticeably across her chest. After a couple of minutes, her father joined her. Did he kick you out? Did he kick you out too? Emily asked, just keep a little company. Her father said. Emily nodded, and they stood there quietly. You don't really like dogs, she said after a minute. Her father started to her father started to shake his head and stop. Well, I'm not really used to them. I never had one before, but I sure like that. She hoped so, because it mattered to her that he liked him, especially since he wasn't really an animal person. It seems to take forever, but finally, her mother appeared in the doorway and brought them back inside. As soon as she touches him, Emily could feel that Zach had gotten very scared again when she was gone. Dr. Kaczynowski had her to go to the whole painting skeleton routine one more time, and then nodded to himself, looking very pleased. Zach has really bound to you. Emily, he said, as he stuck the stethoscope into the pocket of his lab coat. When he's when he's by himself, his valor signs are terrible, but they improve slightly when one of yours rests as hands on him. But when you pat him, his physical and heart rate are almost completely normal. Emily was puzzled. Why would it be surprising that her dog will feel better when she was there? It's dramatic. Emily, Dr. Kaczynowski said, he moved from being critical to stable in just a minute or two. Then, when you're not here, he swings right down again. Well, there's no good medicine and stimulation for it. Frankly, she still wasn't really following him. Let me put it this way, he said. The more time you spend with him, the more likely it is that he just might pull through. Oh, wow. And that's the end of this chapter 11 and chapter 12 in this book. Tomorrow I will be reading chapter 13 and chapter 14 in this book called Dog Whisper, The Rescue. Until then, take care of yourself. God bless, and I'll see you tomorrow.